Welcome back, folks. My name is LastKnownMeal, and today in Cyberpunk 2077 we are going to talk about the state of the game on the base versions of consoles, which are PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and also we are going to talk about the recent hotfix that CDPR released to combat those issues on the base versions of consoles, and also we are going to talk about the user scores on Metacritic as of now. So let's jump into it. So first things first, I've been getting messages from people saying that I haven't talked much about this issue. I did touch on it in my previous video, in my previous news video, where I talked about how the Cyberpunk 2077 was not performing well on the base versions of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I actually saw it with my own eyes at my friend's house, where he started up Cyberpunk on his base version of PlayStation 4, and it was not running well in most instances. He was getting like 15, 17 frame rate, sometimes 25. In some areas it's going to be 30, but overall it was not an enjoyable experience. And if we go back before release of Cyberpunk 2077, when CDPR showed the trailer and gameplay for the Xbox One X and Xbox Series X, and also after that they followed up with the PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 5 gameplay, which was running fine, but they never showed the gameplay of how it was running on the base versions of those consoles. And I've been asking even before release, like, when is that coming? And I honestly thought that that gameplay is coming before the release, but it never did. And now that people went into the game, that people are experiencing these issues, I understand the frustration people have. But also it's important to stay civil, because if you want to get your criticism or argument across the board, then you need to do it in a respectful manner. So I've seen like people asking me like, why am I not threatening the devs or something? Why would I do that? That doesn't achieve anything at all. So why even try to do that? So yeah, obviously the gameplay was not, and it is still not running well on those base versions. And again, I do understand the frustration people have, just because they had never shown that gameplay footage. And through all of this time, like, people assumed it was going to be running fine. So last night CDPR addressed the problem with a first hotfix for Cyberpunk 2077, where they go deeper into fixing some of the bugs, especially for the quests. I'm not going to show that, but they also said that they improved stability on PC and the PlayStation 4. Well, the Xbox update should be coming today maybe, but they said it's coming very soon. I'm not sure at what exact time. Maybe when I release this video the update is going to go live. Now, I asked the community on the feedback if that patch actually helped. Some people have been saying that it did help a bit, because they're not getting fuzzy textures anymore. That has been solved, at least for a bit, and the stability of the game has improved a little. Some people have been saying that it didn't help too much, that their PlayStation is still crashing, that the game is still bugging out, the frame rate is still not the best, of course, which is, you know, to be expected. This is just the hotfix. The proper update is coming soon, as they said, which I think is going to properly address those issues, because they have to. On Metacritic, I checked, and the user reviews opened up, and it's the PlayStation version has like 2.8 or 2.5. The Xbox One Metacritic score is like 2.8. On PC it's better, it's 5.6, but it was a very low score, and majority of the issues that I had seen people complain about was how the game performed on their systems. And look, this whole thing with the console was a screw up. It was a major screw up on CDPR's end, that they never actually released that gameplay. And again, I do understand the frustration people have. Obviously, as I said, this patch addressed some issues for some people. Also, some people have been saying that they have been playing on their base versions of PlayStation 4, and so far they haven't experienced that many glitches or bugs, and that was actually before this hotfix came. So I think it comes down to just a few lucky ones who don't have those issues, and also to people who have a lot of issues. Also, regarding the PC and how it performs, I do recommend, because I'm running this on 1070, the gameplay you're actually looking at, I do recommend turning off depth of field, chromatic aberration, and also turning off motion blur. And also, in the settings of the graphics, check out cascaded shadows, range, and resolution. I lowered that to medium because whenever that those two options were on high, I was getting at least 10 to 15 frames less than I'm getting when I put that on medium. So play around with it on PC if you're experiencing frame rate drops. So far with this hotfix, it did improve a bit, especially as I said, when it comes to a huge number of crowds or, you know, NPC density, because before, whenever that happened, my PC would go to like 20 frames, 15 frames, you know, 25, and now those things are happening less and less often. Now, also people have been saying like, why not delay the game again? Obviously they could not have delayed the game again because of investors and also because of people. Imagine if this game was delayed again, imagine the backlash it would receive. Now, overall, regarding the game itself, it was a success for CDPR because they already covered all of the money they had spent on development, because they had 8 million pre-orders, which is an insane number. But at least on that front is okay. But on the other front, this is going to leave a stain on CDPR's reputation when it comes to community. Look, personally, I like the game. I have been playing the game for the past couple of days. I got what I expected from the game, honestly, so all of that wait was not for nothing for me. I actually loved the game, but obviously how they handled certain things with consoles, and especially now that people are experiencing these issues, it's not okay. And one thing which I had learned from The Witcher 3, which was released with problems, with bugs, with glitches, because I was playing The Witcher 3 day one after it was released, and there were a lot of issues. Number one, frame rate was not the best. There was no proper resolution for HD. That was a whole mess, and that was solved fairly quickly. Also, The Witcher 3 was not running well on PlayStation 4 when it came out, but you know, after some time they actually managed to fix that. So on that front, I know that CDPR is going to update this game. They're not going to abandon this game. Of course, those things will come, and the faster they do, the better, because the first experience people have with the game is sometimes the most important one, because a lot of people, when they have been burned once, they're never going to come back, etc, etc. So just from that standpoint, I hope that the game is updated soon, and I do hope that CDPR does put a lot of focus into those consoles. And I know I've read the argument of people saying that those are 8-year-old consoles, and I don't know what people expected. I mean, I understand that. I understand that those are old consoles, but at the same time, when the game is coming out for PlayStation 4 and when the game is coming out for PlayStation 5 or, well, Xbox One and Series X, it's important to know that it has to run decent on all fronts. It has to. Of course, that the PlayStation 4 version of the game is not going to look as good as the PC one or the next gen one. That's understandable, but at least on the frame rate side, it should be better. It should be, and there is no other way to put it. So overall, I know that already some people are gonna say, oh, why you're criticizing CDPR after all these years. I criticize CDPR because I love the company. I love the people working there, because they gave me a lot of amazing games. And just because I care about them, I'm going to criticize them on these things, because these things were not handled well. Even before release, people have been asking for base console footage. So this update, or well, this hotfix, is definitely a step in the right direction, because they also fixed seizure effects, the light effects that were causing seizures for some people, because there were also reports on that. I honestly just heard about it today. I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky people that cannot be triggered by these things. I cannot have seizures, luckily. but I do know that people have been reporting that some of the light effects were causing that, and luckily after this hotfix, CDPR did fix that. So if you were staying away from the game, I think now it should be safe for everyone to go back into it if you're experiencing those seizures. So overall, rocky start for the game, definitely, but this is just the start of their franchise. They haven't invested so much money into Cyberpunk 2077 just to abandon it and go to another game. We know that it's not the case with CDPR, so I'm definitely excited about the future. I'm definitely looking forward to all the patches and updates and DLCs and expansions that will come into this game, and we'll see. Like, again, tell me down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on the overall base console footage after the hotfix? So far, people have been saying for some it's going good, for some it's basically the same, nothing has changed too much. But also, I do recommend one thing: if your base versions of consoles have dust in them or something like that, try to clean them up, because sometimes actually dust and, you know, fibers that go into PlayStation can actually result in the game performing less than it should be. But at the same time, that's not the case with this thing. It's just an idea for not just Cyberpunk, but for other games you play on PlayStation as well. But yeah, that's my opinion on everything. I was not happy with how this was handled on the console versions. I was really not happy, and you know, this update is the step forward, and we'll see what happens. So thank you for watching. Again, tell me down below what you think about this. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more Cyberpunk 2077 content, because I do put out a lot, and I will continue to cover this game in the future because I love this world. But yeah, this is LKM signing out. Join us on our growing social media on Twitter and Discord if you want to join the conversation about everything regarding gaming and Cyberpunk in general. And also, I do have a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through the link below. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye bye.